Hello and welcome back to OmniFoot TV. This is your host Omar speaking. In today's video, it's about Romelu Lukaku and Dusan Vlahovic. Chelsea and Juve have apparently agreed a 40 million euro swap deal between both players because it has been reported that Massimiliano Allegri actually wants Lukaku. In my humble opinion, this is bull. A player like Lukaku, after the fiasco that he has committed or ran with for the last couple of months, for the last couple of seasons, due to his supposed love of Inter. Now everything went sour for him because he decided to constantly take matters into his own hands and sabotage his own career, because that's what it's seeming like. I don't agree with the fact that Allegri seems to view him as a viable option, especially due to his lack of professionalism. And I don't understand why he would want to part ways with Vlahovic. I understand that a lot of Juventinis are frustrated with Allegri's pragmatism, frustrated with his management. And I've spoken to multiple Juventus fans, and they believe firmly that he should leave the club. And that has been carried on into this upcoming season. Now, what's really interesting is that the fans themselves took time out of their days throughout the last couple of weeks, I think once or twice, at Juventus to protest at the club in order to ensure that Lukaku does not sign. And the fact that Allegri is still pushing for this, and that there's a 40 million fee attached to this deal, is quite frankly strange. On the other side of things, we have Vlahovic, and we look at him psychologically for a bit. I personally feel interested in understanding how he must be feeling at this point in time, bearing in mind that his club wants to replace him for a striker that has been actively sabotaging his own club career for a couple of seasons now. I'd feel extremely discouraged, to say the very least, bearing in mind that maybe he doesn't even want to go to Chelsea. Maybe he doesn't want to move to England. So this is overall a very controversial situation, a genuinely controversial situation, primarily all because of Lukaku. If you were to ask me to compare both strikers, currently, I would personally go for Vlahovic. It's not necessarily because I'd want him at my club. I really don't have much expectation for him. He wasn't necessarily on the tier list that Pochettino had in regards to strikers that we wanted to sign at the club. And as far as I know, Poch doesn't necessarily want to sign another striker due to the presence of Nicholas Jackson and Armando Broja, who is still working his way back from an injury. So to have us sign Vlahovic, although it would be an upgrade, again, in my humble opinion, it would be, it's still going to be a very strange move, or a move completed under very strange circumstances. I don't agree with this as a neutral, and I don't really agree with it as a Chelsea fan either. Obviously I have a bias towards getting Lukaku out of the club as soon as humanly possible, because I cannot stand his presence at the club. It seems that the hierarchy have lost patience with him. It seems that the manager, in and of himself, has been open about his need to ship this guy out of the club as quickly as possible. And I can't blame him, because having that kind of influence around you, even allowing him to train around these players, not a good idea. If it were me, I'd probably throw him in with the reserves and allow him to live out the rest of his days until his contract expires playing for our youth team, because that's the only thing a player like this deserves. Whereas Vlahovic, who rose to prominence at Fiorentina by doing extremely well, mind you, got picked up by Juventus, had a bit of a difficult season, and it makes sense that that fans want to stick with him, because a lot of Juventus fans do believe that they should stick with him. It's not necessarily the end of the world, but signing Lukaku and switching him for Vlahovic would add more, or would provide a deterioration in the overall cohesion of the club. That locker room is going to be a difficult place to be in. It's going to be very awkward. Just how do you walk into another club's locker room, in Italy especially, having played for Inter a season before, and you go in there and you expect to earn everyone's respect? How do you as a player psychologically function after having done that in a manner that shows off that you supposedly have enough self-respect to be there? How are the other players going to look at you? Especially those who are very, biased towards Juventus, because I'm sure a lot of the players at Juve love the club. So they're going to look at him as though, okay, this is just a job I have to complete, more so than it is a club that I love that I'm signing for. Now, overall football has become, or is, more of a job nowadays, but the point remains. Switching allegiances in Italy is not a favorable thing. Very few players have done it in such an instance. And off the top of my head, I can't really remember any player who's done it in such a way. So contextually, this is a very unique situation. It's very different. Getting him off our wage bill is our goal as Chelsea fans. But bringing in a striker who may not necessarily want to come, finding a way to orient him or to integrate him into a squad that is being built from the ground up, these are all risks. It may pay off, it may not, but the only thing I know for sure is that there is no way in hell this human being is going to cause as much disruption as Lukaku. Because for one, he is apparently a very good professional, in which case we have nothing to worry about. On the other side of things, seeing Lukaku rock up in a Juventus kit is going to hurt my image of the club. Not necessarily just the overall image that I have of this one player, but signing a player like him, forget Allegri for a little, the hierarchy at Juve, sanctioning a signature of that nature, it's going to look really bad on the club. It's going to hurt the club's credibility, and it will further damage the already struggling base or uneven base that the club is standing on. Bearing in mind that they've already been banned from European competition, in which case I don't know why Lukaku would want to go to a club banned from European competition, whereas he was playing at Inter, a club that had just made it to a Champions League final. This whole thing makes very little sense. But I hope it's resolved as soon as humanly possible. I hope Juve don't go for him. And personally, I really just hope we ship him off to Strasbourg in France. That's justice right there. I think that's fair punishment. But I doubt that's going to happen, and we will have to wait and see. Although I would consider it a bonus if Vlahovic actually wanted to come to London. And at the same time, I would feel for my brothers and sisters over there at Juventus, because seriously, this whole thing makes no sense. Being frustrated with your club for not making signings is a whole different spiel. But being frustrated with your club for signing players that do not outline or don't present themselves in a manner parallel to the culture that the club has overall prided itself on, that is controversial. And I'll leave it at that for now. If you like this video, please leave a like and hit the bell notifications button, because I post content on a daily basis. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you all next time the whistle blows.